Hello and welcome to another edition of Gametime Situation, Spring Style. I'm Matt Brubaker and he is Brendan Bittner.
Spring style is right, Matt. The weather's warming up a little bit, and we're in the full swing of the spring season. Get it? Swing, baseball, softball, all those things.
Fantastic. The jokes are back for the rest of the semester.
Well, we'll have the jokes, the puns, and a look at those spring sports.
The baseball team started its season in Florida and opened its GLIAC season against Wayne State.
And the softball team had a spectacular weekend after opening their season in Florida as well.
So while those teams were basking in the sun, we were writing this show.
It's more exciting than it sounds.
Well, I think that's enough for this banter. Shouldn't we talk about the teams?
Well, what time is it?
It's game time. Who? The Eagle baseball team enjoyed their spring break at the expense of their opponents. The Eagles, during the break, which was between March 7th and March 15th, went a very impressive 10-1, only losing to Quincy 7-3. The Eagles played one home game during that span and won 8-4 over St. Joseph's. In the game, the Eagles did all their damage in the first 2 innings, scoring 7 runs on 8 hits, and coasted the rest of the way for the victory. During the break, the Eagles scored 110 runs while only giving up 48. Quite impressive if you ask me. All streaks come to an end, and for the Eagles it came to an end against the Golden Flashes of Kent State University. The Eagles were paced by an outstanding performance by senior outfielder Jeff Foltz, who went 6 for 6 on the day and also tied the single game record for most hits in one game by an Eagle. He had 5 singles and 1 double on the day, but his work was not enough to beat the Flashes, as they won 16-10 over the Eagle squad. The Eagles compiled 16 hits against the Flashes, but Kent State also hit well and tallied 15 hits of their own. The loss dropped the Eagles to 15-6 on the season and are preparing for GLIAC play next. Brendan, conference time is here. How did the Eagles open up against Wayne State?
The Eagle baseball team returned home to sunny skies and a light breeze at Donges Field to take on the Warriors. The Eagles were seeing those sunny skies after the game, too, as they ripped both games from Wayne State on Saturday afternoon. Ben Menard got the ball in Game 1 and struggled through the Wayne State lineup. The Warriors were able to pick up an 8-2 lead going into the bottom of the 5th, but the Eagles, as they did many times last year, hit their way out of a tight spot. Ashland struck for 7 runs in the inning, including a 2-run single by Ryan Avery, a 2-run triple by Austin Ritson, and a 2-run homer by Eric Pertz. The Eagles put the game away in the 6th as Evan Melendez ripped a pinch-hit 2-run single to make it 11-8. Jeremy Sloan picked up the win, tossing an inning and a third of scoreless ball, and Todd Schlenkerman earned the save. The Eagles never trailed in the second game of the day, but that didn't mean it was short on dramatics. The Eagles took a 1-0 lead as Tyson Rowland walked, stole second, advanced to third on an error, and scored on a groundout in the first inning. Rowland would add a 2-run single, and Jeff Foltz would add an RBI single in the second to make it 4-1. The Warriors chipped away against the Eagles starter A.J. Meyer, who finished with a complete game, allowing 5 runs. The Eagles led 5-4 going into the 6th, but an RBI rip by Michael Wiseman tied the game. It remained 5-5 going into the bottom of the 7th, but the Eagles were able to strike quickly and avoid extra innings. Josh Kirsten walked to start the inning and moved to second on a sacrifice by Avery. Ben Menard then roped a single over the second baseman's head, plating Kirsten for the win. On Sunday, the Eagles could not continue to keep their hot bats going and ran into a tough Wayne State pitcher in Justin Mazur. The Eagles could not muster much of an offense at all in the 8-1 loss. The Warriors jumped out to a 3-0 lead in the third inning and carried the lead throughout the game. A Menard RBI single in the fourth inning provided the only offense for the Eagles, who managed just 4 hits in the game while racking up 5 errors. The Warriors scored in each of the final 4 innings, taking advantage of 4 of those errors. Aaron Hilt suffered his first loss of the season, allowing 5 runs in 5 1/3 innings. The Eagles are taking on the number 1 team in the country at Donges Field right now in a doubleheader. Matt, I'll give you one guess at who the number 1 team in the country is. Go.
Grand Valley.
That's right, Grand Valley. These are also key regional games for the Eagles as they try and get in position to host the regional tournament come the month of May. Matt, that's what's been going on in baseball. What's been happening on the softball diamond so far?
The Eagles softball team spent their spring break in Kissimmee, Florida, where the sun was shining and the weather was actually warm. Oh yeah, they had to play softball as well. The weather was the only bright spot during the trip for the Eagles, as the team dropped their first 5 games by an average of almost 4 runs per contest. The Eagles rebounded, though, and won their next 6 games on the trip, before finishing the trip with another loss. The Eagles finished their trip with a 6-6 record, but more importantly, stayed warm while doing so, unlike me, who froze during my spring break. The Eagles returned to Ohio and faced the Urbana Blue Knights on March 17th and March 18th. The Eagle offense was awakened once they returned home to Ohio and finished off the Knights in Game 1 9-3. Shannon Gray went 3 for 4 with a pair of doubles, catcher Aaron Porter went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, and second baseman Carrie Hosier and right fielder Erica Miller were both 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored. In Game 2, it was the same story for the Eagles. At least the story had a happy ending. The Eagles jumped out to a solid 5-0 lead after 4 innings thanks to home runs by Gray and Logan Hersey. Gray and Hersey lead the team in home runs on the season with 2 each. The Eagles continued to play well with their strong pitching from Sam Hendricks, who allowed only 1 run on 5 hits and struck out 8. The win moved the Eagles to 8-6 on the season and were preparing for Tiffin next. Brendan, did the Eagle win streak reach 3 and 4?
The Eagles softball team opened up its conference season on Saturday against those Tiffs from Tiffin. The Eagle pitching staff was dominant all day as they earned shutouts in both games with scores of 1-0 and 6-0. The only run in the first game came in the top of the 7th of a scoreless game. Ashland picked up 2 singles before Carrie Hosier reached on a fielder's choice to give the Eagles the 1-run lead. That was all freshman pitcher Emily Narum needed. She diced through the Tiffin lineup, allowing just 3 hits in a complete game shutout. She also struck out 12 Dragon hitters in the process. In Game 2, it was Logan Hersey in the circle for the Eagles, and she was lights out as well, matching Narum's 3-hit shutout with one of her own. The only difference in the line was Hersey struck out only 11 batters. I would say that's still okay. Hosier and Alyssa Kelly each drove in 2 runs, while Hersey and Brianna Woody each knocked in 1. On Sunday, the Eagles required just a little bit of offense, but not much, as the pitching staff still allowed only 3 runs in a doubleheader sweep of Lake Erie College in Paynesville. Narum allowed just 1 earned run in a 6-2 win to open the Twin Bill, as she struck out 12 Storm hitters in 7 innings. Kelly, Erica Miller, and Shannon Gray each had 3 hits for the Eagles, and Gray popped a solo home run in the 4th inning. In Game 2, it was Sam Hendricks in the circle, and she was great for the Eagles to polish off the weekend sweep. She allowed 1 run on 4 hits with 6 strikeouts in 7 innings. The Eagles did not use the bullpen 1 time all weekend. It was Gray again doing work with the bat, as she was 2 for 3 with another home run. Her performance on the weekend earned her GLIAC Player of the Week honors for hitting .550 with 2 homers and 3 doubles for the Eagles, who, including that sweep of Urbana, were 6-0 on the week. Ashland is playing at Northern Kentucky right now and will host Hillsdale and Findlay on Saturday and Sunday in the home openers this weekend. Well, that was a lot to cover on the diamond. We'll take a quick timeout and catch our breath. Stay with us on Game Time Situation.
Parents, there's something you can do to protect your kids from drugs and alcohol. Combine ground beef with egg, tomato sauce, breadcrumbs, and spices. Bake in an oven-safe pan at 350 for 50 minutes. Serve hot.
This is Jamie Lee Curtis. Children who eat dinner with their families are less likely to smoke, drink, or use drugs. So, have dinner together every day.
Delicious.
A message from CASA, the National Center on Addiction and Substance Abuse at Columbia University.
My name's Andy McDonald. I ride this useless wooden toy for a living. It's hard. I've been doing it for 13 years. I'm still lame. I do a trick called a 540. Took me a good 6 years to learn. There's a whole generation of skateboarders out there that are just as talented athletically as any basketball or football player. It takes somebody that's not going to be afraid to fall down a lot, because you definitely will fall down. You're not a failure until you refuse to get back up. Drugs are only going to hinder what I'm trying to do. That right there is my idea of getting high.
Is she thirsty or diabetic? Is he tired or arthritic? Subtle behavioral changes can be early signs of disease in pets. These changes are often less obvious in cats, which can be better than dogs at hiding illness. But a wellness exam from your veterinarian twice a year can help detect, treat, or prevent many health problems before they become serious. So call your veterinarian and schedule your pet's wellness exam today.
As parents, we do whatever is necessary to ensure the health of our children. Sadly, most parents don't realize that their child's first eye exam with an eye doctor should be between the age of 6 and 12 months. I urge you to take your baby to an optometrist for a comprehensive eye assessment. It can literally change your child's vision of the future.
Infancy optometrists offer a no-charge eye assessment for infants 12 months old or younger. Call today to find an optometrist near you.
Welcome back to Game Time Situation. The men's basketball program will be undergoing some changes next season as it will have a new basketball coach for the first time since 1996 when Roger Lyons began his second stint as the coach of the Eagles. The new era began on March 2nd at a press conference when Lyons announced his retirement as the men's basketball coach at Ashland University. Lyons won 18 games 6 times in his 15-year career at AU while also winning 20 games once. The Eagles never played in the GLIAC championship under Lyons, but reached the Final Four of the conference 3 times. He suffered a tumultuous final season on the bench for the Eagles as they went just 10-16 and 8-14 in the GLIAC. His 08-09 team lost 11 of its last 14 games and lost the last 2 games by a combined 60 points. Lyons was also ejected from a game at Ferris State and suspended by the GLIAC earlier this season. In the last 2 years, 9 players had left the program prior to graduation. According to Athletic Director Bill Goldring, there is no timetable to find a replacement for Lyons, but he will keep in mind the early April signing day as a reference point. Matt, the men's team did not make the playoffs this season, but the opposite is true for the women's side. How did Sue Ramsey's bunch perform in the GLIAC playoffs at that Division II school up north?
Don't forget about basketball, everybody. The Lady Eagles matched up against that team that keeps popping up on our show. Now, that I think about it, it's almost as much as Ashland, really. Pop quiz. Which team am I talking about?
I'm going to go Grand Valley.
Absolutely. This time, the Eagles were playing in the GLIAC playoffs against a Laker team who had already beaten them 2 times before this season. The Eagles were looking not for only revenge, but the chance to advance in the tournament. The Eagles trailed by 5 points at intermission, but quickly erased the deficit by going on an 11-5 run and led 32-31 with just over 15 minutes left to play. That lead would not last for long, though, as the Lakers stepped up their defense and allowed Ashland only 17 points the rest of the game. The Eagles lost the game 59-49, and the season came to a close. Lindsey Warren led the Eagles with 11 points and 6 rebounds, and Betsy Morrison added 9 points and 7 rebounds of her own. The loss was the last game for 5 outstanding seniors for AU, which included Morrison, Warren, Alethea Lamberson, Lisa Grau, and Jessica Minch. The season ended for the Eagles with an overall record of 17-11 overall and a 13-9 record in the conference. We'll take our second timeout right now and talk about some AU wrestling when we come back. Stay with us, everybody.
So, what have we got here? Sometimes you feel tired. You can't seem to lose those extra pounds off your midsection. And your joints hurt when you take the stairs? Well, you're getting older. But I'm happy to say that there's some simple things we can do to keep you happy and healthy for years to come. We can also lower your risk for some serious diseases the older population is often subject to. Proper nutrition is more important than ever. Your body has changed, you know. Not as many treats. A basic exercise plan, lots of walks and fresh air, and most importantly, come and see me for twice-yearly checkups to help ensure the best possible quality of life. Now, how does that sound? Good boy.
Improve the quality of life for your elderly pet. Schedule twice-yearly checkups that include preventive care and regular lab work. A message from the veterinary members of the American Animal Hospital Association.
Do you think you'd notice if you were missing half of your money, or half of your friends, your better half, your half and half? What if you were missing half of your kidney function? You'd think you'd notice, but you could have chronic kidney disease right now and not even know it. According to the National Kidney Foundation, 20 million people have chronic kidney disease, and 20 million more may be at risk and not even know it. Chronic kidney disease is a growing epidemic. Anyone with high blood pressure, diabetes, or a family history of chronic kidney disease is at risk. Certain ethnic groups are at an even higher risk. Early diagnosis and treatment of this disease and its complications are vitally important. To get the whole story on chronic kidney disease, talk to your doctor and visit the National Kidney Foundation at kidney.org or call 1-800-622-9010 for a free brochure. Because when it comes to chronic kidney disease, you might not know the half of it.
Welcome back to Game Time Situation. The Eagle wrestling team has been making a buzz around campus in the last couple of weeks. The main reason for that is Josh Ohl. Ohl, AU's senior 197-pound wrestler, went 2-0 Friday on March 13th on the opening day of the NCAA Division II Wrestling Championships in Houston, Texas. In his second match, Ohl claimed a 9-7 victory over the defending national champ Josh Maharis of Chadron State. Ohl is undefeated against NCAA Division II competition this season and is 28-2 overall. Ohl was attempting to become the first AU wrestler to win a national title since Corey Klein back in 1996. This year, Ohl was ever so close but finished in 5th place for the second year in a row in the 197-pound weight class. In his first match Friday, he lost to Newberry's Keno Griffin 6-5. Ohl sustained another loss in his next match when he was pinned against Matthew Farrell of Nebraska Kearney at the 5:51 mark, no relation to Will Farrell. That pin was the first of the year that Ohl has suffered this season. The losses to Griffin and Farrell were the first setbacks he took against Division II grapplers this year. The senior got back on track in the bout for 5th place as Ohl pinned Luke McPeak of New Mexico Highlands in the 119 mark of the wrap-up in the 5th spot. Congratulations to Josh Ohl. Brendan, that takes care of the wrestling team. How did the indoor track team do at Nationals in Houston?
Both indoor track teams finished 4th in the country at the NCAA Indoor Track Championships in Houston. Individual Eagles did earn national championships in specific events, however. Tara Cooper is the national champion in the weight throw with a toss of more than 5 feet better than her second-place finisher. Dan Tierney also came away with a blowout national title win in the pole vault. His clearance of 17 feet 9 inches was nearly a foot better than the closest competition. Alyssa Clayton came away from the meet as the bronze medal winner in the 60-meter hurdles, and Stephanie Abbott finished 3rd in the long jump. Michelle Stark finished 3rd in the weight throw for the Eagles, and the men's 4x400 team of Carlin Isles, Edwin Smith, Joe Horn, and Nick Belenko finished in 4th place, earning an All-America award. The outdoor track season is now underway under Judd Logan, with plenty of expectations after that 4th place finish at the indoor national meet. We'll take our 3rd and final time out and be back right after this. Stay tuned.
Sure, my neighbors Gene and Louise, they may be superheroes with superpowers, but that doesn't make them so super at saving energy and money. I mean, I like them and all, but when Gene uses that power vision to cook dinner,
Honey.
or when Louise or Starbright tries to save a little on the lighting bill.
Mom, a little light.
I may not be able to harness the power of the elements, but I save significant cash and help the environment with appliances, electronics, and windows featuring the Energy Star label. And I improved my home energy efficiency with insulation. My thermostat? Watch this. I'm just kidding. It's programmable. I don't have to lift a finger to save on AC and heating.
Mom, Dad's making fondue again.
So discover your own energy-saving superpowers. Go to ase.org/consumers.
1,200 American youth run away from their homes every day. The National Runaway Switchboard is here to help. 1-800-RUNAWAY. If you are a runaway, thinking about running away from home, or a parent or guardian concerned about issues facing your child, call us 24 hours a day. 1-800-RUNAWAY. In times of crisis, hope is just a phone call away. 1-800-RUNAWAY.
Across America, service learning is helping students improve their grades and their communities by connecting the classroom with community service. Working together, students solve real problems, build new skills, and apply their knowledge in a whole new way. Inside the classroom and out, service learning opens new doors and brings learning to life. Get your school involved. Visit learnandserve.gov to find out how.
Welcome back to Game Time Situation. The Eagle tennis team also enjoyed great weather over spring break this year as they traveled to Hilton Head, South Carolina. Man, I need to join an athletic team. I just sat on the couch and watched basketball all break.
So it's warm. It's warm everywhere they go.
I know. The team didn't just enjoy weather over break, they also enjoyed winning. The team went 3-1 during the trip, defeating Charleston, Palm Beach, and Rockhurst, but lost to Tusculum. Their winning ways over break allowed the Eagles to bump their record to 18-6 on the season. The Ashland tennis team played on Thursday, March 19th, and won convincingly 9-0 over Walsh College. Freshman Paolo Orozco missed her second consecutive match due to the injury, but the Eagles prevailed regardless, with victories from singles from Victoria Gowdy, Paige Cooper, Sarah Tegner, Corrine Paisley, Alexandra Ware, and Krista Halicki. In doubles play, Cooper and Gowdy won at first doubles 8-3. Paisley and Ware took second at 8-7, and Tegner and Halicki won in third doubles 8-2. The win moved the Eagles to 19-6 overall on the season. The Eagles pushed their win streak to 4 matches with an 8-1 victory over Ohio Northern on Saturday, March 21st. The Polar Bears were shorthanded and ended up forfeiting 2 of their 9 matches. The Eagles took 5 of the 6 singles matches. In doubles play, the Eagles took all 3 matches with wins from Gowdy and Cooper 8-5, Paisley and Ware won by forfeit, and Tegner and Halicki won their match 8-4. The win improves AU to 20-6 now on the season.
So, Matt, we've got some NCAA basketball going on, March Madness. I know you filled out a bracket. I know I filled out a bracket. I know mine is loaded with red and black ink all over the place. I have almost nothing left. 5 Elite 8 teams are left. It's been terrible, but tell us about yours, how your experience this March has been.
Mine's hanging in there so far. I have all Elite 8 teams left. I picked Utah State to get into the Sweet 16. That was stupid. I picked against both my teams. I picked against Ohio State. I picked against Maryland. Luckily for me, Siena won. But overall, it's been a great March Madness. Gonzaga, I think, was the highlight so far for me watching the games, beating Western Kentucky at the buzzer-beating shot. That was a great game to watch. But overall, March Madness is just something to really sit down, forget your schoolwork, forget everything, and just sit down and watch your basketball games, and that's what I've done, and we'll be doing it again tonight.
Yeah, it's easy to do when the games are on, especially in that first round. They're on from 12 in the afternoon to 12 at night, and they just play all through the day. But I mean, it's been pretty good to watch. You know, I've tried to pick some upsets in my bracket, and that just has not worked out for me. I had Butler and Maryland, and that just isn't working out at all. But it should come down to what do you expect to see here in the Sweet 16 and getting into the Final Four?
I'm thinking it's just the teams that have been talked about all year are the teams that have that best chance to get into the Final Four and make the national championship games. You look at teams like North Carolina and UConn, basically the number 1 and number 2 seeds. But then again, there's always a team. This year would be Arizona. They're always up there. You remember Davidson from last year. When you're filling out your bracket, you think 1s and 2s will be up there in the Final Four, but every year there's something that surprises you. That's why they have Cinderella. But I'm thinking it could be a lot of chalk this year. 1s, 2s, possibly a 3 in the Final Four.
Yeah, we had a lot of chalk last year, and it looks like we could have the same. Not many upsets throughout much of this tournament. Really, it's been kind of drab on the upset side, but we had some excitement in these last couple of rounds, though, lately.
Yeah, other than the 5-12 matchup that the 12s always seem to win, 12s won 3 of the 4 this year. Really, there hasn't been much. Arizona won as a 12, Wisconsin won as a 12, and Western Kentucky also was the 12 seed. But other than that, it's really been a lot of teams that have been favored to win actually have won their games so far. There has been a couple, but it's lived up to the hype. It's March Madness, and it's great.
Yep, so we've got March Madness and baseball season coming upon us. We should pick up the sports season, I guess, pretty quickly here after kind of a few weeks of kind of just drab, just NBA basketball going on. So we'll get back into the swing of the sports season here pretty soon. And that does it for another episode of Game Time Situation. We only have 2 more shows left to go.
Yes, we're coming to the bittersweet end of this school year.
But that shouldn't keep all our viewers from heading out to see AU's fantastic athletic teams.
And if you can't make it out there, or you just can't get enough AU athletics, you can tune in to Game Time Situation on April 16th for our next broadcast.
Hope to see you then. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.